I can't believe it.
I know, right?
So you're live?
Yepper.
Let's go. Good look.
Laptop.
Nice. Alrighty, guys, we are live. Can everyone hear? Is everything good? Alrighty, guys. Could you guys hear me? Kevin, Tom? Can everyone hear me good? Alright, great, guys. We are live. Sorry about that. We had an encoder problem with NVIDIA, of all things. So we had to update a driver on NVIDIA. So anyway, guys, markets are looking good here. First things I wanted to talk about are the unemployment numbers that came out. 884,000 unemployed versus 850 expected. And then continued claims are over 13.3 million versus 12.9 million expected for continued claims. Obviously, those are the people that are on unemployment and that continue to collect the weekly paychecks. And then the new claims are at 884,000 for the past week. So it's good. They were over 1 million on a weekly basis there. Jack Dottie, Uber is going up because they made some type of partnership earlier in the week there. That's going to continue to run. I think Charlotte was in an Uber trade, wasn't she? She was in one of those trades there. But let's go down the watch list here, see what's going on. We are having a nice day, up about $1,200 for the day here. And that's being led big time by American Airlines and Amazon. Let's take a look at Amazon quick. Amazon's just now getting up to that 20. So remember what we talked about yesterday. This is going to be a big day. You know, it's probably going to be more towards the end of the day when we see what happens here, because intraday moves, we could be up here, by 11 and back down here by 3. So at the end of the day, this is really important where we are. If we're holding above that 20, that's a great sign for us. Let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook trading side by side. That needs to hold that 270. Carnival Cruise Line, CCL. Look at that big pop on Carnival Cruise Line. What did I tell you yesterday about this? I said she's in breakout momentum. She retraced down to that 10 yesterday. Now you could see trade plan perfection right here with Carnival Cruise Line. Ooh, I hit the wrong button there. Got rid of that channel. Let's draw that channel now. Oh, I think it got rid of all my channels. Alrighty, so let's see here.
As we mentioned, the NFL season kicks off tonight. The Chiefs, of course, host the Houston Texans. Fans are allowed inside Arrowhead, which has reduced capacity to about 22% due to the pandemic. Numerous protocols in place to maintain social distancing. Fans are required to wear masks at all times, including while seated. You can, of course, watch Texans Chiefs tonight. NBC coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be quite a game, Jim. Who do you like, by the way?
I do like the Chiefs. I love Andy Reid. I think this team comes in hot. Those of us who live and die fantasy know that there's some very exciting new players, new running back for the Chiefs. Obviously,
I like that setup on Carnival Cruise Line. That's still breaking higher. So there's Carnival Cruise Line right there. Let me put the green channel over here so you guys could see.
They could win big. How about that second half of that Super Bowl? Wow. Football back was really great. Wasn't that fantastic?
Yep. He's having a great year, had a great year last year. Another one personally this year. Obviously, he's getting paid, which he deserves. Do you foresee
Europe passing the U.S.
the way we saw early on in the baseball season?
Europe passing the U.S. and new COVID cases.
They test. They really are. I mean, they've done tens of thousands of tests. Obviously, once you get on the road, there could be some hiccups, but these guys, this has been done very
Love the looks of Carnival Cruise Line here. That's CCL. Let me put that on for those that can't see.
People who feel that it cannot be a complete season, but they're not like Adam Silver, what he's done in terms of the dome, but they've done a great job. They've really done a great job, the
Is cruise line one word or two?
Do you think it's a
I think it's two, right?
for more advertising? And we saw some data on, I think it was Kantar yesterday.
So Carnival Cruise Line's looking great, guys. If we could break that 19 finally on Carnival Cruise Line, we're going to be adding to our CCL trade. Facebook's looking good. Let's take a look. What else do we got? CCL. American Airlines, AAL. Our Snapchat trades are really climbing here as well. American Airlines is holding that 20, looking good. Now let's take a look at Snapchat. Snapchat had a nice breakout, pulling back from the highs there. Let's see, the October 16th Expo, we're up about 20% on that. Let's see, Snap 2350. We could close out that vertical spread on Snapchat that expires. Efren, do you remember what we paid for that vertical spread on Snapchat for the 2250, 2350? Let's see, buy to close, sell to close. How many contracts do we have? 25. Start off the day by closing up this one that expires this week here. I don't want to take a chance of that pullback, so 2350, 2250. Net credit 0.82. See if we could get 0.83 for it. 0.82 is going to be fine. Let's see here. Place trade. There we go, guys. That just closed. We just closed Snapchat. Let's see what we paid for, what we sold it for. Order status. That was executed right here. Execution at, let's see, 1.45 minus 0.63. Close it out for 82 cents. We made a 0.82, divide that by 0.49. We made a 67.35% gain on that.
Online dating? I know people meet that way, but where would I even begin?
Open laptop, go to OurTime.com, look for free. It's easy to take a look on Our Time, the fastest growing dating site for people over 50.
That was a nice way to close out that vertical spread. Now, just to recap why we got into that, guys. Remember, we had the 1020 cross. We finally started breaking above. I think right here we started breaking above, and I said, let's jump into a trade there. Had a couple days of consolidation. Nice pop here on this 8th. 9th, we had a big pop, and on the 10th today, we closed that out for a big gain. And that's what I mean when we get over that 1020 cross, how we can make those vertical spreads there as those nice paycheck trades. So, unbelievable trade on that. That you or me? Those you? Oh, okay. So, nice trade on that Snapchat trade. Let's see here. That locked in a $773.39 profit on that trade. So nice job on that trade, guys. Now let's look for our next trade here. This is what's important, managing trades. You know, you could be looking at trades all day long, but you got to manage your trades. You see that you're having big pullbacks in that account, you got to manage your current positions before you start looking for more trades. Now let's take a look at Beyond and see what that's doing. See if maybe if we could do a day trade on that. What a hell of a pop there on Beyond. Still continuing to climb there. That's a nice one. We'll keep an eye on that. Carnival Cruise Line's really taking off now, up 5% for the day. Let's see, what else do we got going on? Let's see. Facebook's not doing squat. Disney's up 2%. Should have jumped in Disney. Now, it's got some resistance at 137.50. She's looking good, though, and ready for another breakout. There goes Beyond. Beyond looks tradable right now.
So
Oh, if Disney breaks that 137.50, there's a really good shot she's going to head up to 150. I really want to take advantage of that, because that's going to be the next big breakout for Disney. You know Disney's going to be heading for new highs, especially now that the parks are opened and everything. Charlotte, so based on the current chart here, and let me look at the implied move for Disney, just like we went over in yesterday's class. You missed the beginning part where we set up the charts, by the way. That was definitely on there.
KODK, Eastman Kodak shares getting a pop here to allow us to
So Disney implied move for the next 7 days, 3.13%.
Kodak has
So 136, multiply that by 1.0313. That'll bring us up to about 140. So with that said, we could do something for next week's expo. Look for that 137.50, 140 vertical spread out of the money, and look for that nice, that should be about 150% gain. Let's take a look at the option chain and we'll look at that.
There's an outfit called Hindenburg Short Report. They do some
DIS. September 18th, buy to open, sell to open. Now you guys see how weekly we've been closing out these great paycheck trades and these vertical spreads for some nice profits here. It's important to take advantage of different sectors and industries here when the market was pulling back. Beyond is still going there. Anyone jumping in Beyond? That looks like a hell of a day trade setup there. Just climbed a quick $2 in 3 minutes. You look for a delta of at least 0.5 for something like that, and you can make a really great quick day trade on that. Our Snapchat trade's now up 25%. Our regular calls for the October 16th Expo. We have the 23 strikes. Alrighty, so now let's take a look at Disney and take a look at the, we'll take a look at 39.40, 140. 27 cents to be worth $1. 26 cents. One divide that by 0.26. That's a 385% gain there if we get up to 140 next week. You know what? And that doesn't sound bad because we can have a tight stop on this. We could pick up this trade really cheap, have a tight stop. This is a good trade setup. Let's do it. Net debit limit order here of 0.27. And I'm going to go up to 0.28 here. You know, all you need is, what, 30 contracts. It's pretty cheap. Buy to open, sell to open, September 18th, 139, 140. Place trade. And there we go. We got an execution. Order status. We are partially executed at that 0.28 per contract. We'll see that fill the rest of the way there. Let's see, what are how many contracts did I do? 30? How many were filled? Disney. We got 29 filled. 29 contracts filled. It's waiting for one. So that's not a bad setup there. And Disney's still continuing to go. It has another $3 climb. It's at 140. And guess what? That's going to make us a 380% gain. So those are the types of risk to reward ratios I like. And what we're doing is looking at that next resistance level and looking at that implied move. You know, so you saw here, we looked. Here's that implied move for Disney that we were just checking out, right? So as you can see, Disney, the Walt Disney Company, 3.13% implied move in the next 7 days. That brings us up to over 140, right? So we jumped in that, and now we can make a 385% max net gain on that trade if we get up to 140 or higher by next Friday. I like that setup. And the nice thing about that, what are we going to risk? 10 cents. So our stop, we're in at 28 cents. Our stop is going to be at 19 cents. Stop at 19 cents.
Earlier in the morning, but I don't know what you think she might bring to the bank, and of course your personal view, given the fact that she's coming from the consumer side.
I think this is great. I've always felt that the weakness of the city was the consumer side versus its competitors. I think that they do great M&A. We had I've got Ray McGuire on talking about business and of course talking about race. I think that Corvus are a visionary leader of the company. He's been there for 38 years.
Now that's what's important about these trades we're making now. We have to make sure we're watching the market and the market's going our direction. If we see a pullback in the market, get out of that trade. That's a short-term trade for next week's expo.
Next, he's 60, looks 45. I was joking about that. It's almost like 60 is the new 70. People want to figure out what they want to do. Like, retire now while they still have time.
I heard that Milan brought in over 1 million new subscribers to Disney Plus. Didn't you hear that news, Colin? I think that's why Disney's doing so well there.
Has the pandemic made him be more soul-searching? He's been there for a long time, 8 years. It's been very tough to be a bank CEO. I know the chart may not look like he's created a lot, but the net income has increased from $7.5 billion to $9.4 billion under him. He's brought up a great deal of stability, and we got to wish him well. He's not going out till February.
Kramer's like, it's a bad time to be a bank CEO. Well, not if you know what you're doing.
The person who cracked the ceiling by putting Jane in. And Jane has been
Always ways to bring in business, right?
incredible resume, like many women, but this one managed to crack it. And I think that's also joining the board. That's because she's great, but also I think
DA Boeing,
wanted it that way.
Senate Committee holding
He wanted it that way. Others should think about it.
September 16th hearing on bill to reform FAA oversight of aircraft certification following fatal Boeing 737 MAX crashes. That's committee statement.
Avilio, did you get into Beyond? You still in it? Look at that, continuing to run there. From 144 to 147. Quick 3-point climb. Disney's still on the run.
There's a Facebook moving higher about FB Facebook.
Facebook moving higher. Let's see if that, there we go. There's that breakout momentum. SMA cluster right here. 10, 20, 50 SMA. Nice breakout there. Breaking 276. It's been struggling with that 275 for a while here. So we got the next resistance at 276.25. Let's see if we could finally break above it here. Facebook wants to move. I'd really like to see that above 280 today. If I see a move above 280, I'm going to be bullish and buying some more calls on Facebook here. I mean, the stock had a, 15% pullback from the highs here, so it's going to be a good opportunity as long as the markets hold up. Only thing that worries me with the markets now is the election, like I've been talking about. You're in gold? Good job, guys, if you guys got in gold. Looking good. If you got in GLD, Charlotte, you're looking good this morning. You guys are in GLD or GOLD? That's important. Which one are you in? Nice job, Jerry. Charlotte. That should be a quick, easy target to 187.50 to 190. I think it gets up back up to 195 by election time. Gold is just a safe haven. You know, like when there's instability in the markets here, they always rush into gold because, you know, it's an asset that they could hold on to. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on and add to along the way here. I think gold's going to do nothing but go higher. What expiration do you guys have? Marla says Wayfair is running.
GM Golf Michael says stands by the statements made in announcing his relationship with Nicola.
Overstock must be running too.
Golf Michael.
Let's talk about whether you can crack it. There's not many drug companies that may be able to deal with something that causes suicide.
Jim, thanks very much. It's a lot of show. Talk to you later.
There's a Nicola getting a pop here now over $40. Back over $40.
He's senior chair at Sullivan and Cromwell. Good morning, Raj. A few ways to try and interpret this initially here.
Marlo, that looks like a great day trade setup.
Female CEO of one of the money center banks. also, in a sense, it's a transition from, to some degree, the global financial crisis era leadership at Citi. I mean, Goldman made this pivot as well, but you still have a lot of other CEOs out there that kind of date back to that phase. What are your initial takeaways culturally and strategically?
I think honestly, so look at Wayfair and Overstock usually trade similar. Overstock's up over 18% now. Wayfair's only up about 12%. I think that's going to have another 5% pop. If you want, it's in a strong breakout momentum. First retracement, or if you want to jump in, I'd be picking up the 290s. A single contract for $765. That could pay off a couple $1,000s if we get that 5 extra percentage point move higher.
Other institutions go through a very searching process. So I think the idea
CRQ getting a popular turquoise hill on a volume now. Take a run from that.
obviously it is, I guess you could call it groundbreaking as opposed to glass ceiling breaking for the first woman to be the CEO of a major bank in the United States. But having worked with Elaine Jane for a long time, she would have been in my view, the obvious CEO, whether she were a man or a woman. She's just an incredibly talented person. And I think, again, strategically, what you see is that she has had experience in all phases of Citi.
Amazon's nearing 3,400 freaking bucks again. That vertical spread we have for September 18th, the one that could pay off like 300%, it's looking good. I should be buying back that short leg though. Should have bought that back 2 days ago when that short leg was just about worthless. Look at Amazon, 33.50, 3-month daily. She's breaking that 20, right? We talked about that. 3,400 is the next resistance level, so we got another about 50-point climb before we get up to that 3,400. That's going to act as resistance.
MAG Mag Silver to acquire 100% of the consolidated Silver Ridge Field Trail project in Utah. Phase 1 drilling to begin in October. That's Michael Alpha Golf, MAG.
Snapchat trades up 31%.
She will clearly continue with what she is doing now to deal with the fallout.
I want to do something with UPS here. I want to add to that. I want to add to it. Well, you're not going to believe what's rocketing higher today. I think I gave that away. Rocket Mortgage up over 3% today. 3-month daily. Remember what we talked about with those mortgage application numbers? You got to listen because that news, it slowly gets into the market. We're hearing that news before anywhere else. So Rocket's going to continue to have this momentum going forward here. That's why we have 4 trades on it right now. I love the setup on Rocket Mortgage. It's up 3.5% today. 25 is resistance. It breaks 25. She's going to quickly go to that 27.50. Let's see. Ron says, should I buy my short leg back in Tesla? Let me know what trade you have, Ron, and I'll let you know what I would do.
Is most fundamentally a question of credit and making sure the credit is strong or as strong as it can be in the environment.
I would never buy back a short leg that expires the next day or less than 7 days for that matter, because it's an absolute coin flip. Tomorrow is usually, we're probably going to see some selling pressure tomorrow. I'm telling you that right now. We're probably going to see, you know, a 400-point drop. That's what I'm expecting. So if you buy back that short leg, you know, it's only going to hurt you if the markets drop there. If you have something like 2-3 weeks out till Expo, perfect opportunity to buy back a short leg. Let's take a look at Tesla. Especially if it breaks that 400 resistance here. I want to start to see that MACD cross here. at least start to incline here instead of that drop lower.
Banks can be held directly responsible for the problems.
Okay, so Pierre
In 2008, there was obviously
asked, Dave, what is the logic with buying back the short leg of the spread and how does it work? We went over that in our class yesterday, actually, and that's going to be uploaded today. But buying back the short leg, so for example, let me show you the Amazon trade here in the account.
I did not see a major change in the fundamental structure. Could you tweak here? Could you tweak there? Inevitably. But a change in the fundamental structure does not seem to make sense when banks have done as much as they have to help support the economy during COVID-19.
Roger Cohen, thank you very much for your thoughts this morning on this big transition.
Thank you. Thank you.
And still to come, former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan joins us in his first broadcast interview since...
Okay, so here's one example on Amazon. The 3580, 3600 vertical spread. You see we only have 3 contracts. That was a small trade we made during the market highs before that pullback. And remember I was saying, guys, this is the time to trade lower because we were so fluffed up there. We're waiting for that pullback. So smaller trades. Now this is what I mean about buying back the short leg. So you see the -3 contracts here, right? So all this spread means is we are willing to buy Amazon shares at $3,580, and then we're willing to sell them to someone else, another buyer, for $3,600. So the max we're going to make on this vertical spread here is the difference between these two, which in this case is $20. So if its max worth is $20 and we paid, let me see here. Okay, so here's the average price. So 78.43 minus 71.53. So we paid $6.90 for this. So remember, there's 100 shares in a contract, so $690 per contract. Max it could be worth is 20. 20 times 100, that'd be $6,000. So 690 times 3 contracts, that's a $2,000 trade we made on this. So it's a $2,070 trade to be worth $6,000. That's a $4,000 payday if it just got up to 3,600 or higher by September 18th expo. Now here's the thing. You see on that short leg, since Amazon had that pullback, we could lock in a $17,564.48 profit if we buy back this short leg. It's going to cost us $3,892.50 to buy it back. Now, if you remember, when we did it, it was worth $71.53 a contract. Now it's only worth about $13 a contract. So we're collecting the difference from where we sold it to this guy from. So he bought it off of us for $71, right? We could buy it back now for $13. So that profit we would make from buying it back for a much cheaper price than we sold it for would net us a $17,564 gain. Now, you only want to do that strategy of buying back that short leg here if you still think the stock's going to continue higher, okay, and reach your goal here. So if it reaches that 3,600, obviously these are going to be worth at least 20 bucks. That's another $5 higher. So that's 1,500 higher plus that. So you're looking at about a $20,000 profit if we bought back that short leg and Amazon still climbed above that 3,600 by expiration date. But the problem is your expiration date's next Friday. So, you know, that's what I mean about anything less than 7 days. It's you really don't want to buy back that short leg unless you're very bullish. And that's why I'm talking about our trade plan here and watching to see if we're going to break above that 3,400 resistance today. If we break that 3,400 resistance, by all means, I'm going to be buying back those short legs right there, because it's only about 3,800 bucks. But like I said, we could have a reversal soon here, you know? The markets are very volatile, so you got to be disciplined and you have to be patient, because if you're just jumping into trades here left and right, it's going to screw up your account. Tyler, they are editing that video now, so that'll be available either later today or tomorrow.
Very lightly monetized, so it's rare that you see an asset like this that's got a billion user segment that's almost completely unmonetized.
Visa pushing high of the day. Let's take a look at Visa. Visa's looking like a great setup there. I love Visa. A lot of things are opening. You see the arenas are starting to open. Sports are starting to open. That means those credit cards are going to be going through those registers. And I love the sound of that. I think we got 210 resistance on Visa. I think we could trade that up to 210, lock in profits on Visa at 210. I think we could get next week's Expo on Visa and make a really nice quick swing trade. Maybe sell it Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Lock in a profit. We're already up $2,800 now for the day. After locking in the profit on that snap trade. And now Disney's continuing to run. Facebook's on the run. Let's see, what else do we got going on here? And our rocket trade's really climbing nicely. Snapchat trade now, up 31%. Ron, watch and see if that breaks that 400, that Tesla. That's an important resistance area. She's getting up to it closely. Let's see, Tyler says, Dave, do you still like that McDonald's spread there? I love it. I'm loving it. Looks great. I think she's going to get back up to 220. Tyler says, wow, Overstock. Let's take a look at Overstock. Yeah, 22%. Now let's see Wayfair. Marla brought up Wayfair before. It was up about 12%. She's up 13% now. I think that's going to continue to run too. Overstock, that's an easy $100 target. She's at 84 bucks now. You could be looking for that 16-point climb on Overstock from now. I'd get the October Expo. 16-point climb with a delta of at least 0.50. That's an $8 move in that underlying premium for that option. So that's an easy move up to $8 or up to $100 there if you get something with at least a delta of 0.50. Marriott's having a nice day here. Let's take a look at Marriott. Remember yesterday I said, guys, they were chasing after those tech stocks yesterday, you know, and you see now, you know, we're climbing off that resistance. We're climbing off that 10. You see Carnival Cruise Line here. Carnival Cruise Line holding up nicely, back above 18 bucks after that 2-day pullback. This one day, you know, climbed above those 2 days of selling pressure. Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, another nice pop. Another green candle on RCL there. I love that. Looking good there. Now that resistance is going to be right at about 80 bucks. So about another 8-point climb on RCL short term. Longer term, 110 bucks. I think it'll get to 110 bucks by, let's say, June of next year. So that's something you could get something out for 6, 7 months, 8 months, and you could look for that nice climb there. Once that vaccine comes out, everything looks good. Obviously, the cruise lines are going to continue to climb there. They got some rounds of funding as well to cover their operational expenses for the next few months here. So now that the cruises are opening up, people are sailing, you're going to continue to see this in breakout momentum. And the nice thing about this thing doesn't give a damn about the presidential election. People are going to be taking trips regardless who wins the election. So this is a nice stock to, you know, buy, own. There goes Wayfair again. Marla, are you in Wayfair? Huevo says, what do you think about Friggy? FRGI. Fiesta Restaurants. Never heard of them. I love that chart though. Looks good. You got some resistance at 15 short term, 1750, and then I'd be looking at 25. So there's R1, R2, R3, and those are your target profit areas. So depending on how far you want to go out, if you want a short-term trade on it, obviously if you're looking at October Expo, you'd be looking for that 15 to 1750 target area. If you're doing a leap, look for that, you know, $30 from that $25 to $30 target. And that's a nice move. And this is something you could just buy the regular shares of and hold on to those as well. Oh, Marla, I wish you got into that earlier, that Wayfair. That looks good. Let's see, Uber. Uber is still breaking higher, up 3.65% for the day, continuing that climb. 6-month daily chart here is looking good. I really think this is going to continue to run much higher here. I think that $40 target should be easily hit by October. I really want to do something with Uber here. I probably am.
2020 has seen 111 U.S. IPOs raising over $37 billion, the most since 2014. Palantir, Airbnb, among the biggest names expected to hit the public markets by year-end. Joining us now ahead of these high-profile listings is Renaissance Capital principal and co-founder Kathy Smith. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining us. So, in speaking with sources, all I hear is that it's going to be a very, very busy month. The pipeline is strong, maybe bleeding a little bit into October, but it seems like companies
The
are
IBM
looking to take
Cinedigm
advantage of
trading
relatively high
popular to the high
valuations for
72
their
cents. Charlie
comparative
India
peers in
Delta
the market,
Michael.
as well as maybe getting out ahead of some volatility induced by the election.
Wow, Facebook is still breaking out. 279, starting to climb. We're nearing $3,000 on profits now for the day, realized and unrealized. Nice climbs here, guys. And we definitely called it.
Many IPOs are these new economy companies, so they fit in well to the profile of what investors are looking for.
3-month daily on Facebook. She's getting up to that 20. So now remember yesterday, right around the same time right now, we got up to that 20, and then by the end of the day, we failed. So this is what's really important here, John. I need to see that above that 280 by the end of today. It's only about another $1.80 climb higher. I need to see that above 280. If she's above 280, I'm going to be very bullish, and I'm going to be adding to our long calls there, either buying back the short leg, or I'll keep it like it is and just turn it into a ratio spread by adding to the long calls there.
Well, speaking of performance, you all did a report recently looking at SPACs and the performance compared to traditional kind of operating company IPOs, and found that they do tend to offer lower returns than traditional IPOs, at least going back to 2015. Everyone who comes on our air, who's doing a SPAC, who's focused on SPACs, says, no, but this time is different. This SPAC 2.0, it's more institutionalized, it's got more, high-profile, big-name investors in charge at the helm here. Do you think that things are different this time?
Facebook's still climbing, nearing 279.
Is this whole SPAC wave here to stay, or a year from now will we be looking back and saying, maybe we shouldn't have really plunged into that pool?
Well, we think the jury's still out. I mean, the returns.
Let's see what Rocket's doing. I'm up $2,000 on a long side of the Rocket call, RKT. Wow, she's breaking 4.1% now, continuing to break higher. There goes Facebook, 279. Rocket Mortgage here is continuing to run, 24.36 a share, continuing that breakout momentum. It's using the 20-day SMA on a today 1-minute chart as that support area. So now we're just coming up to resistance 24.50. We break that. Like I said, I think we have a nice, easy shot to that 27.50 if we could break 25 here. There goes Facebook, 279.16. Let's see her break that 280 today. She breaks that 280. That's going to make me a happy man. Now remember, we have a paycheck trade for next week's expo on Facebook. We have the 285, 287.50 vertical spread there as a paycheck trade. So we're not far away from that. She's up $5 today. Another move like that, that paycheck trade is paying off. And let's see, what do we pay for that? $11.69 minus $10.39. 11.69 minus 10.39. So we paid $1.30 for it to be worth $2.50. 2.5, divide that by 1.3. That's a 92.31% max net gain. But we can make that even higher if we buy back that short leg and it continues to run there. So we'll be seeing where this is by the end of today. But everything we've been going over, now you see why it's so important for me to make these videos and, help you guys understand everything we're doing. I think as we get more of these videos out and this content, educational content, I think you guys are just going to get better and better here.
We will get to a better place, but at this point, it really needs to show in the numbers, and it doesn't.
Another kind of roundabout way that people have
Let's see here. Dow is up 115. NASDAQ's up 115 as well. Looking good.
And New York Stock Exchange requests to allow companies to raise capital by doing direct listings, which historically had prevented a lot of companies who needed that money from going that direction. Do you see that as a mechanism that could open the floodgates for companies to pursue IPOs through direct listings? Do you think that there are necessary investor protections in place if that were the case?
Well, it would be nice to have investor protections, but I'd say as a general rule, restrictions on insider selling. Now that kind of equation.
Overstock up 23%.
Because investors aren't buying IPOs just to provide liquidity. They're buying IPOs so they can see a company that actually performs.
Facebook's looking great there, holding that 10 the entire time. So you see, here's that SMA cluster we talked about on yesterday's class, right? Here was that 10-20 cross. Here's that MACD cross.
And our studies show if you look at those stocks 1 year from their direct listings in the aftermarket, after the first day.
So you got that at around 9:57, 9:56, whatever time that was. 9:56. That was when the MACD crossed. SMA cluster 10-20 cross right at around 10:02. That's 10:01. First candle above, right at 10:02. So at 10:02, that's your entry time for Facebook with our trade plan. And you can see breakout momentum, retracement to the 10, breakout momentum, retracement to the 10. Now watch this. See how this is linked one? I'm going to show you exactly what you would have made on that trade here if you jumped into that day trade. So here's the option chain, right? We'll link this with link one. So this chart here to the left is link one, option chain's link one. Type in Facebook here. Now what was the stock at? We get in at the money or slate out of the money as soon as we get that. I'll be looking at the 275. So the 275 right here, we click on that and this is going to chart what that was worth today. Now let's take a look here and you can see today 1 minute. Now here was the entry right here at 10:01. I will say 10:02. 10:02 here was our entry. Over here, 10:02, this option, you see right up here, right? This option is for the Facebook September 11th 275 strike. So this would be a day trade on this breakout right here at that 10:02 candle. That's your entry, right? Now, 10:02 here. 10:02, this option's worth about, let's say, 370. Down 346 up to about 380. You know, we'll use the midpoint here, 365. So 365, it's at $6 now. You still didn't get that sell signal below that 10. So 6.1, divide that by what you paid here. What do we say? We'll say 3.65, 3.7. That's a 67% return on that day trade right there. So you know it's either A, I could be answering questions, we could be looking at things, or we could be trading. That was a nice find there. John found that breaking out there. Did you jump into that day trade, John? No? That was a nice find, John. But you would have made a quick 67% return on that trade now if you entered late and, you know, that was still a nice setup there. Those are the types of moves that you really want to take advantage of with breakout momentum. That's the breakout momentum cycle that we're talking about. Well, this is a today 1 minute chart, so this is a phase. Anything on a minute chart is going to be a phase. Anything on a daily chart, cycles. But that right there, 67% gain on that day trade. If you used a trade plan and got in when you did there. So, hell of a trade there if you got in that one, John. Nice find. Let's find more like that and trade them today as a team here.
12%, Whiskey Tango Romeo Hotel.
Workday, a finance, HR, and planning partner like no other.
Doug. You know, Limu, after all these years, it's the ones that got away that haunt you the most. Because you're not like everybody else. That's why Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance. So So you only pay for what you need. What? Oh, I said. Oh, this is my floor.
I love calendar spreads, Martha, if the timing's right on them.
Only pay for what you need.
Dave, Nike looks good. Capital letters. Let's take a look at Nike. It must be a good breakout. Wow, that is looking like a hell of a setup there. We got the MACD cross. 1020 cross is just coming up. Nice, Tyler S. Good find on that. That's a nice opportunity here to trade Nike. We can make a trade on Nike for going out to next week's expo. Especially as schools are opening, people are shoes. Let's take a look here. September 18th, we'll look at the 118. Those are pretty cheap there, $1.59. We could certainly pick up a few contracts here. 10 contracts, that's going to be about $1.64. Let's place that trade.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sue Herrera. Here's your CNBC News update at this hour. At least 3 people have now died in California.
I think it was executed. I saw. There we go. We are executed. Order status. We have a completion here. So we were executed at $1.63 a contract. Nike, September 18th.
FRSS, Foresight Automotive, Foresight Autonomous Holdings, the $5.90,
Remarkably, no injuries were reported. Thousands remain without shelter after a larger fire earlier this week. You are up to date. That's the news update this hour. I will see you back here in an hour. Squawk on the Street is back in a moment.
Stop on the Nike trade is going to be. So for targets and stops, we're always looking at the daily. That's great. They're probably going to get a nice run. Remember what Foot Locker did after their earnings report? That had a hell of a move. Let me add the current trades here. What did we say we made on the Snapchat trade? 67%? Yep, 67.
States in the presidential race. Our latest CNBC Change Research States to Play poll of the swing states found that for the top issue for voters there, well, it's the economy. In focus for Wisconsin voters is that giant Foxconn tent that was supposed to be cranking out giant video displays and employing thousands of people by now. Well, it hasn't quite worked out that way, and Scott Cohn is joining us to take a look at potential political implications. Scott, you know, with the election just a few months away, what's going
Yeah, it's a big battleground within a battleground and an important area of the state, politically as well as economically.
There we go. I updated those current trades we made today on YouTube there. Looks good.
The eighth wonder of the world, cranking out giant video
A little bit of a pullback here.
and the state and local governments pitching in some
Tesla's up 9%.
of subsidies to lure the Taiwanese manufacturer there. Of the 13,000
Got right up to that 400.
were ultimately promised at this
There she
point,
is.
at least as of the end of last year.
Let's see, Ron, what trade is he in on that? He is in...
The targets at this point. But this election year, there are some signs of life at the site. There are some, the company is now saying that it will occupy the main manufacturing building this month. That's still way behind schedule, and of course it's a far cry from production, and some 2,600
Let's see.
people are involved now in construction. And while this isn't exactly advanced manufacturing, they are turning out COVID-19 masks at the site, and they also are building ventilators in a joint venture with Medtronic. Metropolitan Racine is
Coming
now
up at 11 a.m.
third in the
Eastern
nation
Time,
for
food
wage
inventories
growth
a
last
draw
year,
of
although that probably has a lot more to do with
1.335 million.
labor shortages in the area than it does with
397, 398 vertical spread for this week. He's going to have max gains on that.
of likely
Distillate
Wisconsin voters say they're feeling
draw
positive
of
about the economy. That's a little
557,000
better than
expected.
the 40% figure nationwide.
Chris made 10% gains on Overstock in 10 minutes. That was nice.
According to the poll, Vice President Biden is building his lead in the state in our latest poll. On the question of who will be better at
If the volumes are down on the major ETFs, that's telling you that this is a retail trader climb here. That's not an institutional or hedge fund type of climb.
they tell me they still
If the volumes are down on the ETFs, that means it's more retail traders coming in and picking up individual stocks here trading. So that's important. That tells you quite a bit. When we see the big hedge funds and institutionals jump in, then that's when we're going to see that big 600-point climb again on the Dow, 200, 300-point climb on NASDAQ.
When we come back, former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan on the economy, the Fed, Treasury, inflation, China, you name it, in a moment.
What a climb on our Facebook trades today. That's looking great.
How do we manage it?
CCL
Every business is like 11
above 18. Pull back from the highs today. Still up 2.5%. AAL still in the green for the day, but definitely pulled back from those highs. We'll look for a continued run in the afternoon on the airlines and cruise lines. Microsoft pretty flat since about 10 o'clock.
Gene, did you know Geico is now offering
Charlotte says, what rocket trade should I get? RKT. I'll give you a great trade idea on Rocket here if you're not already in one. RKT, honestly, I'd be looking at the October 16th Expo if you got the patience to go with that one. You could even do the September 18th, to be honest with you, but it's either A, you could pick up the October 16th 25 call for, that's dirt cheap here, Charlotte. The 24 strike call, the 25 strike call here for October 16th. This is a great trade idea, actually. I'm going to post that as a trade idea. October 16th Expo. 25 strike. Call at 2.25.
With uncertainty over a stimulus package, one investor lays out his top picks on TradingNation.cnbc.com. More Squawk on the Street coming up.
And of course, that's already if you're not in our Rocket trades. I'm about $5,000 in Rocket now, so.
It's time to trade up. Schwab helps you see the full picture with powerful intel and trading specialists who get it. Plus, get commission-free online stock, ETF, and options trades. Schwab, the better place for traders.
All right, so last 5-10 minutes of our live stream here for the morning session. I want to go over unusual option activity, and we're going to start making this a daily thing. You guys see all the changes we're making. We're making the pre-market video that's done every day by 9 a.m. Sending out the newsletter. Doing a pre-market video, post-market video, and now we want to start doing unusual options activity and cover that as well here in the live stream. So now let's take a look. I'm looking at the unusual options activity. I'm gonna go down them, see what I see here, and see what I like. So NCLH is a big one that's coming up right now early in the morning. 3-month daily. Look at, we got the 1020 cross. This is a nice setup up to about $20 to $22.50. Norwegian Cruise Line this is. There's unusual options activity coming in on this. I like that setup there. They're buying the puts. They could be selling the puts though as well. So they have a bid in for 57 cents. Midpoint 59. It's about 3,300 contracts for 59 cents. So 3319, multiply that by 59. It's about a $200,000 trade they're making there on Norwegian. Next one that's coming up is BBBY. BBBY. Bed Bath & Beyond. Look at that now. So they're picking up the 146 strike calls. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. I was looking at Beyond there. Beyond's another one. So BBBY, they're picking up the 13 strike puts here. So they're thinking it's going to get up to that 13, fail, head lower. They probably did that a little bit earlier in the day once it had that pullback there. Next one, Beyond, BYND. There's a lot of activity coming in Beyond. They're picking up the 146 calls for tomorrow's expo. So they're picking up those 146 calls, and if we bring up the option chain here, you can see exactly what they're doing, the 146 calls. And that's the nice thing about looking at UOA, unusual options activity. BYND, 146 calls for tomorrow's expo. Look at the volume coming in there. 3527. Obviously, they're picking up the 145s here as well. A lot of call activity on Beyond for tomorrow's expo. And that could easily get up to that 155, 160 tomorrow. So if you're able to pick that up for 146 and she has another 8 to 10 point climb there, you're having some pretty hefty profits there. I'm not a fan of Beyond. I definitely would day trade it though this afternoon. Let's take a look. Another one is Spotify. Spotify getting up to that 10, 20, 50 SMA failing. They're picking up the 265 strike calls for tomorrow's expo. That to me is a gamble trade. Don't like the looks of that. As you can see, there's SMA cluster getting up to that 10, 20, 50 and failing. So I don't agree with that Spotify trade. YRCW. That's looking good there. They're picking up the $5 strike calls for October 16th expo. So they're picking up that $5 strike for October 16th expo. This one's just breaking out of that consolidation, so I do like this one. No idea what YRC Worldwide is. Never traded it, but nice setup there. I could see why they're picking up that 5 strike. They're picking up 12,000 of them at 65 cents. 12,036. So 12,036, multiply that by 65. This is an $800,000 trade someone just made on YRCW. That's a pretty darn big trade there. And the nice thing about stocks like this is the one that I'm telling you guys how they'll come in, they'll buy those $5 strike calls, like $800,000 worth, and now they'll put $5 million in the shares. They'll climb those shares up, and now those options make 200-300% gains on them. So that's a classic move that Wall Street does, these larger hedge funds. So be on the lookout for that one. Keep it on your watch list. Another one, Uber. They're picking up the 36 strike calls for October 2nd Expo. 36 strike calls, October 2nd Expo. They're picking those up, and those are looking good. I like that. I think we get up to at least 40 bucks there by October. I really do. Another one is MLCO. And that one doesn't look that great. They're picking up the 16 strike put. That's a gamble trade down there, down to support. Let's take a look at Bank of America. That's another one coming up on UOA. It's still in consolidation, though. I wouldn't be trading that until you broke that either 25, I'd say 25-35 area, or that 26-25 area. But they're picking up the 23 strike puts for March 2021. So they're going way out there and picking up the 23 strike puts. Let's see, more trades on MLCO. There's a lot of option activity coming in on that MLCO. No idea what the heck they are. Melco Resorts, but they're picking up all different types of things on it here. Puts, 16 strike puts, 21 strike calls. SSYS. They're picking up the 1750 strike call. This is one that had a big meltdown here over the past few months, from 30 bucks all the way down to $14. RH is another one, unusual options activity. RH, what a pop on RH, from about 311 all the way up to 410 this morning. GoGo, you guys remember GoGo? We've been talking about that. Look at GoGo still on the go. That's looking good there. Came down to about $9 support, holding that, continuing to climb. Now you got that resistance right between 1050, 1065. If it could break that, you're looking for another further breakout here. And we could definitely be seeing that $15 target area that we were talking about the other day, which is another 50% incline from the underlying share price here. So that's not bad to jump into. Dow's up about 16 points. Nasdaq's up 48. Market's pulling back a little bit here.
Given demand for those long-term assets, how do you judge the Fed and
Let's see what else on the unusual options activity. Let's see. They're picking up the 40 strike call on NKLA. NKLA, they're picking up the 40 strike call. I could definitely see that. They're buying that on that pullback, looking for that climb there. Twitter, they're picking up the 35 strike call. That might be a good one. Twitter, they are picking up the 35 strike call for October 16th Expo. So they're buying an in the money, deep in the money strike call. And they're looking, they're probably looking for that $41 to $44 target there. A pullback from the highs, but if you look at the daily chart here, we're still well above the previous candle's body on Qs. You could look at Qs here. We're still well above the previous candle's body. SPY, still above the previous candle's body, but like I said, what's important for today is that we break above that 20. I was talking about that this morning. I don't want to see another failure at that 20 in a pullback. But we are early. Markets are still green, and Nasdaq's up 73, Dow's up 43, and the S&P 500's up about 9 points. So still looking okay. Facebook's still on the climb, looking good. Let's see here. Carnival Cruise Line still on the climb. So let's see, CCL. That's looking good. Still climbing there, holding that 1750 support.
SAGE, Sandy Alpha Golf Echo.
Nike is a swing trade. That's still well above the previous candle's body there, although it did pull back from the highs of 118. These are intraday moves. Do you guys see these candles here? So each one of these candles are showing you where it went up to, where it went down to, and where it went throughout the day. We are still well above yesterday's candle that was down to 112. We're at 116, $4 climb from the lows yesterday. And the day's only about, an hour and a half in. So there's still plenty of time for this to either climb, drop, but what we're worried about, or what we have to watch for, is a drop below the previous candle's body. And so far, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that yet. And we just locked in some really nice profits today on our Snapchat trade, and we're going to continue to lock in profits on these spreads as we go along here.
Inflation certainly has not emerged in a significant way to this point.
RBC,
I wonder
CEO
how
on
you
Mad
compare
Money
today
tonight
with when you
Jim
were chairman
Cramer,
in the late 90s and
and
somewhat
expect a press
allowing
release out
the
shortly
economy to run a bit
from
hotter, letting
SAP,
unemployment
now
get
at
a bit lower
15,564
before
off
being
the high.
concerned about inflation because productivity growth was significant. And I wonder if you think that applies to today's environment as well.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, the latter part of the 1990s was an extraordinary period. And nothing we could do went wrong.
Wow, Alan Greenspan's on CNBC now. He does not sound good at all.
But it is true that
Huh?
it's very old. Usually
He's got to be up there.
and I think that
I'd say 90s to maybe 110. Let's see, Alan Greenspan. He's 94 years old.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. I want to see him reach that 100.
any of these things. So I think that so far as far as I can judge, things are going
Let's see, Richardson said he's doubling down on KR, Kroger. Let's take a look at KR.
but as I said before,
What trade do you have on Kroger, Andrew?
deficits which are getting into hand.
Certainly the data, even in the past few weeks, would confirm that view. Dr. Greenspan, we love seeing you. Thank you so much for your time. Alan Greenspan, former Fed Chair.
My pleasure.
Later today, CNBC's Inclusion in Action Forum examines how business leaders can take immediate, concrete action addressing racial disparities in their organizations and create sustainable solutions to allow for equity and opportunity for all. Join us today. Register at cnbcevents.com/inclusion.
Andrew, just remember, you said you're going to be buying more of those calls on Kroger. Look it. You got the MACD that crossed below, 1020 crossed that cross below, and a candle below the 1020. So I wouldn't be adding just yet. I'd be waiting for that climb above, let's say 35.75. Another 75-cent climb, I'd rather wait for that for an average down or whatever it is you're looking to do on that. Just telling you that to try to help you out there. Now, if it's a new position, then that's nice, and you can have your stop at 34.75 there. So a tight stop there of about, 22 cents? So I wouldn't mind that. But
When the world gets complicated, a lot goes through your mind. With Fidelity Wealth Management, your dedicated advisor can give you straightforward advice and tailored recommendations. That's the clarity you get with Fidelity Wealth Management.
When it comes to parenting, you're a pro. You know your kid doesn't step around folks. And you know cheap leaky diapers are an amateur move. You need Love's Pro Level leak protection. Love's.
AMC wants to hold that $6.
ANGI, Angie's Home Service.
AMC is just going to be a good long-term hold, for the next month or two.
Contract. That's out from the Limit Golf, India.
SPY Dow just turned red for the day. Look at that breakdown on SPY. That's something we could day trade in the trade challenge account here. Look for a quick gain there.
Leader on serving 1 billion users. His moves to protect the community and policies preparedness. A CNBC exclusive tomorrow. And now watch Black anytime on demand.
Hot company Canopy Growth launching a Martha Stewart line of CBD products. Didi Roy spoke with CEO David Klein. Has more details. Hi, Didi.
Options, SPY. I'll probably hold this. I'll get a SPY September 11th Expo in the trade challenge account. A put. September 11th, 338. Limit 2.3. Alrighty, great guys. I just executed that trade. It's 3 contracts. Here was the executed price. I'm gonna share this with you in the trade room. This is a trade challenge trade, and I'm gonna be holding on to this towards the end of the today, maybe even tomorrow. So 3 contracts. SPY September 11th, 338 put. Executed at $2.25. I picked up that day trade. I'm just gonna hold that in the trade challenge account for probably until about 3-4 o'clock today. See if that selling pressure continues. So it's 11 o'clock now, guys. I got a class. Got to get off of here. We're gonna be back live. I'll come back live at 2 instead of the 3 we talked about since the volatility. Whenever there's volatility in the markets, we'll come back at 2. So. Mark is up 40% on the 340 puts. Good job, Mark. You picked those up a few minutes ago on those SPY puts. Nicely done. Alrighty, guys. Great job today, and I will see you guys at 2 o'clock. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the trade room. I'll be in there, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. And those of you on YouTube, if you want to come join us, you guys could go to breakingchartalerts.com. You guys could click on, let me log out here so you can see that's the trade room. And now what you could do here is you could go to the membership pricing plans, and you guys could go here and pick out a package that best fits your needs. Alrighty, guys. I will see you guys at 2 o'clock. Hope you have a great day, and I'll be in the trade room here. Alrighty. Take care, guys.
Crude ticking a bit lower now, 37.54.